Going to the proctor and we're gonna take exam one. And if you're in Laramie, there's 3 days and you should have seen in WOW courses all those different time slots. You can pick one to come in and take the exam where it'll be proctored. If you're in Wyoming, then there's an outreach center near you. You should have already contacted them and figured out during those 3 days what time works for you and them. If you're outside Wyoming, then you should have found your own proctor, sent that information to Outreach, and then Outreach will send your proctor the information you need to take that exam. If you don't know where you're taking the exam, the time to fix it is like immediately, because as you can imagine, the closer it gets to the deadline, the fewer options that there are. When you go in to take the exam, you can have a page of study notes, front and back. A lot of people ask, is it okay if my study notes are printed? Well, okay, but as a teacher, I'll just give you a hint. If you handwrite your study notes, you're going to remember it better. But it's up to you. Study notes, front and back, whatever you want. At the end of your test, you're going to have to turn those into the proctor along with whatever scratch paper you were using to take the exam, but you can get them back after the exam is released. We are using WebAssign and the applet. Some computers will have like a pop-up blocker, so when you try to click on open the distribution applet, it won't do anything. It probably means you're using Internet Explorer. Chrome seems to work better. But at the top of the exam, there's a little note that says, here's a link you can click on, and it'll take you to my webpage, and it'll pull up that applet. Or you could copy the link and open up a new tab, put that in, whatever works for you. Any calculator, but not cell phones. So it has to be a calculator that doesn't connect to the internet for obvious reasons. But other than that, I don't care what kind of calculator you have. Do bring your ID. The proctor has to check that in order to open up your exam. It's a 50-minute exam, and the proctor is the one who puts in the password. You can zoom in if you can't see like graphs or equations. Sometimes students are like, the equation was too small, so just zoom in. Control scroll for a PC, Command plus for Macs. Do submit frequently. I've had students say, I put in all the answers, and right as I was about to click submit, the power went out. You can see what a position that puts me in. How do I know what you had or that you actually had anything? So submit frequently. Every time you do a question, click submit, and then it gets saved. Sometimes students are worried, did it really save? Did it really submit? Because it goes right back into the test. That's how it works. If it doesn't submit, you'll see an error screen, and that's the way you know there's a problem. If you didn't see that error screen, then you're just fine. Let me show you what it looks like. So it looks a little bit different for me because I'm doing teacher view with a practice class, but you can see that you'll have a bunch of practice exams, even more than this. And the one exam that we have has these two icons, one telling you it's password protected, the other one telling you that it's timed. If you click on it, it'll say, what's your password? That's where you would show the proctor your ID, and then the proctor puts in the password, which the proctor has to remember and spell correctly. Oh my goodness. We'll crop that out of the video. Mental note, don't forget. So it says I've got 43 minutes instead of 50 minutes because I've spent the last 7 minutes redoing this because it always takes forever. But you'll have a full 50 minutes. Sometimes it's really annoying to have this right in your face counting down. So if you click on it, it'll minimize it. You can still see the blue bar there telling you how much time you have. When your time is almost up, like the blue bar is clear down to here, it'll actually turn bright red to try to stress you out just a little bit more as you get towards the end of the exam. So here's what it looks like. And you'll see like there's graphs, and sometimes people say I couldn't see them very well. Well, that's where you need to zoom in or out on your own computer. So let's go ahead and answer some questions. What's the best way to estimate the spread? I said mean, which is of course not a correct answer. And I'm going to say, something like 100, which is ridiculous. And when I click submit, notice that it doesn't tell me the red X or the green check. Yeah, that's really annoying. I know. So you can't see whether you got it right or wrong. Up here at the top where it says score, it doesn't tell you whether you've got it right or wrong. That's the point. It's an exam. As you go through and you do each question, you might be tempted to only submit like at the end of the exam. I already talked about why that's a bad idea. You're leaving yourself open to say, oh, I promise I did the test, but nothing's submitted. You can imagine how that goes. When you get to the bottom down here, there is a button that says Submit Assignment. That actually does the exact same thing as any of the other submit answer questions. It takes you back to the assignment. It did submit. See how it says a little submitted up there? If it didn't, then you would have seen an error screen. When you're done, if you go back up here to the top, there's a button right hidden underneath the time that says sign out. Once you sign out, you are welcome to go. You do need to turn in your scratch paper to the proctor, including any notes or any other materials or your study notes. That's to make sure that none of the exam material is leaving the room. You can get those back after the exam is released. If you're here in Laramie, you can come get it from me. Or if you took it at DSS or with another proctor, you can get it from them. And of course, if you have any issues or problems or concerns, please let me know. The sooner, of course, the better.